Hey everyone, welcome back. So today's going to be a big one. We're looking at a major severe weather outbreak across parts of the United States, and I mean serious stuff. Damaging winds that could reach 80 to 100 miles per hour. Massive. Hail potentially up to 5 inches in diameter, and yes, the potential for several tornadoes as well. So let's break down everything you need to know in detail. Let's start with what's going on right now. As of this morning, things are fairly quiet. No major severe weather currently, but we did have a batch of storms that rolled through overnight. These storms have been weakening, but they still brought damaging winds and hail from Abilene, Texas, all the way through northern Mississippi. There was even a large tornado reported just south of St. Louis, yesterday near Summertown, and a really dramatic storm structure was spotted in northeastern New Mexico. So please take 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. So what's fueling today's threat? Well, we've got this strong, low-pressure system sitting way up in Canada, but it's starting to dip southeastward. That's going to bring in northwesterly flow across the central part of the country. Exactly the kind of setup that supports a major, severe weather outbreak. What we're probably going to see is either a very intense mesoscale convective system, basically a big line of storms, or even a derecho across parts of the southern plains. And with that, we're looking at a widespread threat for destructive winds and even tornadoes. Meanwhile, over on the east coast, there's a leftover mesoscale convective vortex from yesterday. That's going to bring the chance for isolated tornadoes and damaging winds, especially in areas like Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey. So we've got 2 different storm systems happening at the same time today. One over the southern plains, one over the mid-Atlantic. Zooming in on the setup for Sunday today, we've got a level 4 out of 5, a moderate risk for severe weather. That covers northern North Texas and southwestern Oklahoma, including the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. If you're in Wichita Falls, Childress, or just outside of Oklahoma City, you're also under that moderate risk. Oklahoma City itself, along with the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles, falls under an enhanced risk, and then we've got a broader slight risk stretching from just outside St. Louis down to West Texas. Now again, the biggest concern today, it's the wind. I'm expecting widespread wind gusts between 80 to 100 miles per hour in some areas. That includes Oklahoma City, Amarillo, Leech. These winds are no joke. Not everyone will get winds that strong, but even 60 to 80 sakers, mph, can knock down trees and power lines. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a rogue gust of 105 or even 110 mph somewhere out there today. Hail is another big concern, especially from western Missouri, down through most of Oklahoma and Texas. We're talking hail as big as a DVD, 5 inches across. That's bigger than a softball. And yes, tornadoes are definitely possible too. I'm watching 2 main areas. One just outside the Washington, D.C. area in the mid-Atlantic, and the other, a much broader threat, across the southern plains with a 5% tornado risk. But I'll be honest, I think we'll see a 10% hatched risk pop up later today, especially for parts of western Oklahoma and north-central Texas, around Wichita Falls. And if we get some discrete supercells developing ahead of the main line of storms, we could be looking at a strong, maybe even an EF3+ tornado this afternoon or evening. So make sure you've got a tornado plan ready to go. And hey, I want to say this clearly. If you're under a severe thunderstorm warning at any point today, stay away from windows. If this storm system develops into a full-on derecho, which is looking likely, these winds could be deadly. As we head into Monday, the severe threat shifts eastward. We've got a large slight risk from the Ohio Valley into the southeast, and even a marginal threat stretching from the high plains to New York. Monday's storms won't be as extreme as today's, but damaging winds between 60 to 70 mph are still likely. Large hail is also possible, and there will be a few chances for tornadoes, mainly in Ohio, western Pennsylvania, and around Buffalo. There's also a secondary tornado threat from Mississippi into North Carolina. Back to today, though, again, damaging winds are the big story. The tornado threat is conditional, based on whether we get those supercells forming ahead of the main line. If they do, especially in western Oklahoma and north-central Texas, that's where things could really escalate. By the time the storms organize into a big cluster, we're talking a dominant wind threat, though a few embedded tornadoes are still possible. Now let's talk instability. This is the fuel for the storms, and we've got a lot of it. Across Oklahoma and the Texas Panhandle, we're seeing CAPE values between 5,000 and 6,000 J-kilogauss. That's explosive. We really don't even need that much energy for storms to go severe, but with values this high, they'll explode quickly and become widespread fast. Timing-wise, we'll start to see isolated showers in the morning, but the real action begins between 1 and 3 p.m., especially over southwest Kansas, the northern Texas Panhandle and the Oklahoma Panhandle. That's where storms will first initiate, and the initial threats will be large hail and damaging winds. Between 4 and 5 p.m., if we do get those discrete supercells, the tornado risk goes way up. By 6 p.m., this will likely evolve into a large line of storms stretching from Tulsa and Joplin down through Abilene and near Amarillo. And around 8 to 9 p.m., these storms will intensify dramatically as they push into Texas near Wichita Falls. This is the point where winds could be pushing 100 mph. Then between 9 and 10 p.m., that line hits the DFW area with all hazards on the table. Damaging winds, maybe a few tornadoes, but probably not much hail by that point. Even after midnight, we'll still be tracking intense storms from Fort Smith to south of Dallas-Fort Worth and near Cleburne. And by 2 a.m., the storms will be approaching Little Rock, Shreveport, and north of Houston, still packing damaging winds. By 3 or 4 in the morning, this whole system should finally start to weaken as it moves toward the Mississippi River Valley. So, please take 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. And as we move into Monday, we're still watching the southern plains, especially western Texas and eastern New Mexico, for more isolated supercells with damaging winds, hail, and a low-end tornado risk. Tuesday looks a bit quieter, with most of the energy shifting into western and southern Texas. Again, wind and hail will be the primary threats, with a low tornado risk sticking around. Over in the mid-Atlantic, the tornado threat should start increasing this afternoon between 3 and 4 p.m., especially in Virginia and Maryland. I'm thinking a few tornadoes could spin up in discrete storms east of the Appalachians, mainly just outside Washington, D.C. That threat should wind down between 8 and 11 p.m. as storms move through southern Maryland and Delaware. Looking ahead to Tuesday, things calm down a bit. We'll still have some storms across the Carolinas and the Gulf Coast, but nothing too organized. And honestly, for the rest of next week, it's looking quieter overall. Severe weather might finally start shifting north toward the Midwest and northern plains. Texas and the Southeast could finally get a break, which also means the summer heat is coming. As always, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay weather aware, and we'll see you in the next video.